It was like my wife chopped my manhood off with a butcher knife. I'm so desperate, I'm thinking of cheating on him. When I heard my wife talking about dating apps, I was in shock because I didn't think my ED would push her to be ready to meet strangers. That's why the story I'm about to share with you is incredibly painful and embarrassing. It has to do with how my erectile dysfunction shamed me, humiliated me, almost ruined my entire marriage and life. The only reason I'm willing to share this with you is because this humiliation ultimately led me to discover the unbelievably dangerous root cause of ED. And now it has nothing to do with low testosterone levels, age, or heart disease, but it is instead caused by an extremely disturbing thing happening in your blood right now. So stick with me, because in the next 5 minutes, I'll tell you everything about what really causes your ED. According to a recent study that left researchers from Cambridge University and various Ivy League universities in shock, why taking ED drugs will make you a lost cause, unlike the pharma fat cats would like you to believe, and the incredibly spiky yellow plant used in the most exclusivist Beijing ED clinic by Hollywood VPs and famous porn stars. So stay with me, because if you are taking testosterone supplements to treat your ED, you have most likely been lied to. And more importantly, in this video, you're about to discover how I managed to heal my ED in just a short couple of weeks without painful surgery, penile implants, expensive heart-destroying drugs like Viagra, which does nothing for the root cause of ED, or paying $2,000 for ineffective low T therapy. I've gained the ability to enjoy full, long-lasting erections literally on demand, and gave my wife back the strong and powerful man she had so desperately been longing for and missing for more than a decade. After applying the method for yourself, you'll begin experiencing the most powerful, long-lasting, full erections of your life, no matter your age or whether you've been struggling with full-blown ED for a while, or if you have no issues down there, but you just want to have the most amazing sex of your life. Now, if you're thinking this sounds crazy or too good to be true, I completely understand. I used to be just like you, thinking the only possible way to address my ED was by paying thousands of dollars per year to big drug conglomerates, even though they continue to make billions of dollars off of our embarrassing and anxiety-causing situation. So all I ask right now is that you stick with me for 5 minutes as I give you the science behind the ED healing method I'll be sharing in this video, and show you why that secret method that Big Pharma would absolutely kill to keep you from knowing can ultimately and rapidly give you the life-changing confidence of naturally enjoying erections on demand. That's exactly what's already happened for 97,500 men across America. People like Mark P. of Gulf Breeze, Florida, who says, "Hearing that there was a completely natural way of getting an erection whenever I wanted without taking pills seemed pretty unbelievable to me. After all, if I could heal my ED so fast, why didn't I already know about this?" Well, because I was getting tired of spending $10 per pill on the pharmaceutical ED drugs, and because my love life had been suffering pretty bad because of that, I decided to say, what the hell, and give your method a try. Rich, I'm so glad I did. Within a couple of days, I was getting the fullest, most powerful erections of my life. I'm not kidding, it was incredible. Now my wife can't keep her hands off me, and that's no problem at all because I can respond to her as many times as I want, even several times a day. And Raymond Maddox of Virginia Beach, who says, "Before I found your treatment, I was miserable. To say my sex life with my wife was bad would be the understatement of the century. It was almost non-existent. The problem was that I couldn't take ED drugs because of some chest pains I'd had in the past, and that left me with limited options. I had tried some natural herbal extracts that they sell in the men's health section of the pharmacy, but when I looked at the ingredients, I realized they were nothing but a bunch of scary chemicals that were also heavy on the side effects. That's what makes your solution so great, though. I don't have to swallow toxic chemicals that hurt my body. I simply use your treatment and get massive results. It saved my marriage, and my wife practically worships me. Thanks." And Luke McGraw of Joplin, Missouri, who writes, "As a recently divorced man, being intimate for the first time with a woman other than my ex was incredibly nerve-wracking. I hoped that maybe when the time actually came, I'd forget all about that and I'd be fine. But I wasn't. On 3 different occasions, I had a woman I was dating want to have sex with me, and in each of these cases, I was simply too nervous and anxious to perform. It was humiliating. And with each failure, I became even more terrified that it would happen again the next time, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why I was so blown away when I watched your video. and discovered that there was a simple way to guarantee that my member would always be ready to go, even if I was super nervous and afraid. I started following your treatment, and sure enough, the very next time I had an intimate encounter, I had no trouble getting it up, even though I was really nervous. It's so relieving to know that no matter what happens, I'll be in top shape. Now I no longer feel anxious, and I can enjoy sex and have fun, which is the way it's supposed to be. Thanks, Rich. These are just a few of the almost 100,000 men who have already used what they learned in this video to successfully treat their ED and gain erections on demand, often in as little as just a short couple of weeks. Now, I'm going to explain exactly how the method I've discovered works in just a second. But before I do, I know you're probably extremely curious about who I am and how do I know what I know. Well, as I said, my name is Richard Johnston, 45 years old, and I live in Long Beach, California, along with my beautiful wife, Barbara. I work as a bioprocessing engineer, overseeing production and distribution of fresh farm produce. In short, I make sure the food you eat is natural and safe. But I won't bore you with any more details about my life, so let me tell you about how it all started. It happened on my wife's 43rd birthday, May 13th, 2019. As you can perhaps imagine, she was less than thrilled with the idea of aging and had been upset about the whole thing for the last several months. I hated seeing her so miserable, so I'd put aside an entire month's salary to buy her a pair of exquisite diamond earrings, which I'd hoped would make her feel better. Originally, my plan was to give her these earrings when I took her out to dinner that night, but as the workday dragged on, I became more and more anxious to give her the present I'd spent so much money on. And so around 4:30 p.m., I left work and headed home to surprise her. I parked out on the street so that she wouldn't hear my car and know that I was home. Then, as quiet as a mouse, I snuck through the side door, through the living room, and toward the kitchen. But something wasn't right. From the kitchen, I heard my wife sobbing. It startled me, and I froze for a moment. And then I heard her say the words that would hurt me more than anything else I ever experienced in my life, physically or emotionally. She was on the phone with her best friend, and what she was talking about was me. Of course I love him, she said. We've been married for 20 years. It's not a matter of love. It's a matter of how frustrated I am. He's just not the same in the bedroom, you know? She went on to complain about me, how we hadn't had sex in months, that she didn't even remember the last time we used the bed for anything else but sleeping, and how her suggestion to use toys seemed to upset me. She sounded confused and sad. Was it her? Was she not good enough anymore? Sure, she put on a few pounds since we got married, but she was still a very sexy woman. I felt my heart sink into my stomach when she told her friend about how I'm not the strong, potent man she fell in love with. That I used to get her all hot and bothered with just a look, but I didn't even lay a hand on her anymore. She thought I was a completely different person. And the worst thing was that my dear wife, whom I so much loved, was so desperate she was willing to give Plenty of Fish a try. I couldn't believe what I just heard. The whole weight of the world came crashing down on me. It felt as if she had just chopped off my manhood. It was that excruciatingly painful. Slowly, I crept back out of the house, got back in my car, drove to the nearest shopping center, and sat in the parking lot for more than 2 hours with tears in my eyes, struggling to breathe. To hear her talk that way was shocking. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I shouldn't have been so surprised. What she was saying was true. I'd been having a harder and harder time getting and maintaining an erection over the past few years. The ED drugs I used did help some, but they came with so many negative drawbacks. For one thing, they were incredibly expensive. I was paying $7.50 or more a dose, which added up to hundreds of dollars a month and thousands of dollars per year. Spare cash I simply didn't have laying around. That's not to mention the embarrassment of buying those pills in the first place. I had to watch the woman in the pharmacy giggle every time I would tell the clerk that I needed Viagra. Kids think buying condoms is embarrassing? Well, let me tell you, trying to get ED pills as a grown man is 1,000 times more embarrassing than that. And don't even get me started on the stomach cramps, nausea, other side effects. I felt like I either had to force myself to have sex with my wife or avoid it entirely. And because my confidence was so shaken, I became more and more afraid of being intimate. I didn't want to use pills, but it seemed like my manhood just wouldn't work without them, which left both my wife and I feeling extremely unsatisfied. Now, I should mention really quickly that it wasn't always like this. In my 20s, I'd been well known for my vigor and vitality. I could go all night, and both the women I was with before getting married and my wife afterwards would comment on how much they loved having sex with me. I don't know about you, but for me, making love on a daily or bi-daily basis, being able to last as long as I wanted and give my lover multiple orgasms has always been a huge point of pride. So what the hell happened? How did I go from a rock star in the bedroom to a total dud? Was it just aging? Was anything wrong with me? I really didn't know, which is why after hearing my wife on the phone talking about how she's ready to meet other men, I made the desperate decision to spend every waking moment of my time looking for a solution for my erectile dysfunction, studying how things like Viagra and other prescription drugs for ED really worked, and exploring any possible alternatives that wouldn't make me sick, nauseous, and broke. I conducted all of this research in utter secrecy, coming home from work around 5:30 p.m. and locking myself in the office until well after midnight. And during this time, my relationship with my wife suffered even more. She didn't know what I was doing, and even though I made up all kinds of excuses and white lies, she was growing more and more and more scared that I was hiding from her because I no longer loved her. The best I could do was reassure her and continue on. I told myself that if I could figure something out, some natural way to heal my ED, it would all be worth it. Because no matter what people say, you already know that sex is a vital component of your relationship at any age. It's what brings you and your loved one together. It strengthens your relationship. And it lets her know that you're just as crazy about her now as you were on the first day you asked her out. Well, at first my research moved extremely slowly, and there were a lot of dead ends. I looked at low T therapies and realized they were basically worthless when it comes to helping with ED. That's because despite what the radio and TV ads say, or what your doctor will tell you, according to the Columbia University Department of Urology, only 5% of all ED cases come from low testosterone. Plus, even if I did happen to be in the tiny minority of people whose ED would be helped by low T injections or treatments, I'd have to pay about $250 per injection, more than $2,000 over the course of a full treatment cycle. And that still didn't take into consideration the fact that scientists are increasingly linking low T injections and gels to prostate deadly diseases and heart issues, causing FDA to consider banning them. Of course, I looked at standard erectile dysfunction drugs like Viagra, Cialis, and Blue Chew, along with a dozen less well-known ones. But besides the fact that they were all incredibly expensive, and that I'd already experienced some of the less serious side effects when using these medications in the past, there were just so many other severe, life-threatening side effects associated with these drugs that using them terrified me. Take a look for yourself. And that's just a partial list of those side effects. I also looked at exercising because I'd always read that doing cardio is important for blood circulation, but the link between exercise and the ability to both get and maintain erections at will is non-existent. I mean, think about it. There's definitely no exercise that's specifically designed to help with your ED, right? So while going to the gym might be good for me overall, it definitely wasn't going to provide the solution I was looking for. By the end of my first month of research, all I had to show for my efforts was a sense of hopelessness and the desire to give up. I started to think that maybe I was just destined to live out the rest of my life in sexual frustration. That maybe I should accept the fact that my wife might leave me or have an affair. What if she already met up with some of those men? To my shame, it's not like I paid much attention to her during my research. In my most depressed moments, I thought maybe I should even tell her to hook up with those men, so that at least it wouldn't be a shock to me when she did it anyways. Then I remembered the phone conversation I'd overheard, the way she cried, how she no longer felt like I was a real man, how humiliated I was. And I knew that I had to do absolutely everything in my power to reclaim my vitality, regain my self-respect, and save my marriage, both for my wife and for myself. So I kept pushing forward, digging deeper, deeper. And thank God I did. Because even though I didn't know it at the moment, the breakthrough I'd been praying for was right around the corner. something that would ultimately give me the ability to achieve powerful and long-lasting erections virtually on demand. And that has since then helped more than 97,500 men to experience the exact same incredible results. So first, let me tell you quickly how this revelation came about. After a frustrating month of studying ED medications, low T treatments, exercise programs, and even implants, I decided that I needed to go back to basics and spend less time looking at treatments for ED and more time looking at what actually causes our erection issues in the first place. So, I began studying everything from biology and high school grade anatomy textbooks to academic journals, medical articles, and published studies. And that's when things really started to click for me. You see, I realized that despite what Big Pharma and the drug manufacturers want you to think, ED really isn't a big mystery. It's actually really straightforward, and I'll tell you why right now. First, without getting too high school sex ed on you, let's look at how an erection actually works. We'll call the next 10 seconds Erection 101. And here we go. Your penis has two chambers inside of it, and they're collectively referred to as the corpora cavernosa. The corpora cavernosa runs the length of the organ and contains a maze of blood vessels shaped like cavernous spaces. When the blood vessels of the corpora cavernosa relax and open up, blood rushes in through the arteries to fill them. That blood then gets trapped under high pressure, creating an erection. Easy, right? The blood vessels in your penis relax and open up. Blood rushes in and gets trapped in your penis, and the pressure causes an erection. Now, the reason I just told you all of this is that unless you understand how an erection works, you won't be able to understand the biology behind ED. So, let's give you another quick primer, and we'll call this one ED 101. Don't worry, this one is even easier to understand, I promise. In cases where you're struggling to get an erection, maintain an erection, or where the erection you get is somewhat flimsy and less than full, the vessels in your penis aren't relaxing fully, which means blood can't get into your penis and cause an erection. That's it. Seriously, that's the one cause of virtually all erection issues, period. It's not mental. Scientific researchers at Columbia and other Ivy League universities have already proven that in study after study. It's simply an issue of the vessels in your member not letting blood flow in. Now, this is all fairly common knowledge, although again, the multi-billion-dollar erectile dysfunction industry wishes it wasn't. They want you to believe that erection issues are something that can't be helped unless you take their insanely expensive and heart-damaging drugs. But the more I started thinking about this, the less sense it made to me why we would need to depend on artificial substances. There's gotta be a natural way to relax those blood vessels, I thought to myself. And since I've already told you why modern-day solutions don't work, I decided to travel back in time, focus on ancient natural remedies that have been used for centuries in Asia. So I started with the weird ones, supposed aphrodisiacs such as deer antlers, balut, which is basically a hatched foul-smelling egg embryo that you just slurp from the shell, and even Spanish fly extracts. And I used myself as a guinea pig, testing out everything I could get my hands on. And mind you, I could only get my hands on those because one of my colleagues knew some guy who knew some other guy. But most of these exotic aphrodisiacs didn't seem to do anything but make me anxious, sweaty, and nauseous. I also tried some breathing exercises, meditation techniques, and yoga. And while they did help me to relax, they did nothing for my friend down there. So it was another dead end when it came to all these weird aphrodisiacs. They were nothing but myths and legends. But rather than give up, I kept reading study after study until I came across one that focused on something so obvious that I had dismissed it for some reason: plants. I mean, I've been working with them long enough to know that some have incredible healing properties. And if the Chinese have been using them for centuries, they must have some effects, right? That's when I discovered an unexpected plant root that has been proven in study after study to relax the blood vessels in your body while increasing blood flow. But that's not all I found out. You see, when combining this root with other natural ingredients such as certain oceanic kelp or a little known seed, its properties increase tenfold, and the effects appear faster and last longer. The only thing left for me to do was figure out the right combination of these ancient herbs and figure out how to get them all into my body at the same time in the correct way to immediately improve my ability to generate and maintain erections both in the short and long term. Because remember, all it takes to get an erection is relaxed blood vessels, which then allow the blood to flow in and create pressure in your member. So I made a list of all these herbs that I had researched, along with the substances and properties of each one, the ones that were shown to relax blood vessels and increase blood flow, and I started mixing. After that, I began testing different combinations and quantities, taking 1 teaspoon each day, and writing everything out in my journal. Well, as you can probably guess by now, this was going slow. Very slow. I was starting to get a bit discouraged after trying about 40 different combinations, but with 0 noticeable results. But despite all that, I kept pushing forward because really, what other option did I have? After all, the research I did showed this would work. All I had to do was find that sweet, sweet spot when it came to combining these ingredients. And then, on August 20th, 2019, it happened. I was sitting at my computer desk, writing down the herbal combination I had planned to try for the following day, when I suddenly realized that I was getting extremely hard. Within a minute, I had one of the largest, most swollen erections I'd ever had in my life, even stronger than when I was a teenager. And you're going to laugh, but the first thing I did was run to the kitchen to find my wife. She didn't know what the hell was going on or what had gotten into me, but I insisted we go to the bedroom. And she was probably so relieved that I was actively trying to be intimate with her that she didn't complain. And over the next hour, we proceeded to have what was hands down the best sex we had in 20 years. I was pulsing the entire time, and she could feel it. And once we were done, she asked me what had happened. Did I take Viagra or some other ED drug? No, I told her. And that's when I finally decided to come clean about everything I'd been doing. I told her about how I overheard our conversation, how it humiliated me and made me feel awful, how I'd been so desperate to regain my vitality so I could be intimate with her again and satisfy her again. And that this was the reason I'd been locking myself in the study each night. Well, at first she was mad that I hadn't been honest with her. But as I continued to explain all of the efforts I'd gone through, her anger quickly turned to understanding and appreciation. And after about 30 minutes of talking, she turned to me with a cheeky smile and said, "Okay, let's test out your discovery again." To be honest, I was kind of nervous when she said that, because even though I'd been incredibly hard the first time we made love, I was far from certain I'd be able to repeat those sorts of results just 30 minutes after finishing. The moment she kissed me, however, I became rock hard again, and all of my nervousness quickly went out the window. And after another lovemaking session that night, and 2 more the following morning, I finally got myself out of bed, returned to my office, and looked through my journal. I needed to play detective, because even though I'd had such incredible results the previous night, I'd also been trying a lot of different combinations, and so I wasn't exactly sure which one had been the miracle game changer. Fortunately, however, it didn't take long to find out. I simply repeated the one I'd used the day before, taking a small teaspoon of herbal powder before lunch. Sure enough, later that evening, as I was eating dinner with my wife, I suddenly got another huge, powerful erection. Now, I'll spare you the details, but let's just say that for the next 30 days, there was really only one activity that my wife and I were doing in our spare time. And I was continually amazed, thrilled and ecstatic by the fact that every single time my wife or I wanted to be intimate, I could get a powerful and full erection in a matter of seconds. Plus, what was cool is that I realized it wasn't just one single plant that was healing my ED. It was the entire combination of herbs that relaxed my veins and boosted my blood flow, which meant that I now had the one and only true treatment for my ED without having to try many different combinations. The results were incredibly consistent and impressive. To be honest, I actually started to get these erections too often. I'd just be sitting there at work, typing away at my computer when bam, I'd be getting rock hard. So, I had to modify the quantities of these herbs, a bit to reduce my intake until I finally got the perfect combination. And let me tell you quickly how it all works. So to make this as easy as possible to understand, please think of your penis as a rocket. First of all, like any rocket, you need the best fuel, right? As you've already seen, the fuel of your penis rocket is your blood. You wouldn't use bad or impure fuel on a rocket because you will risk having it crash and burn right under your eyes. So the first step is clean your blood for healthier erections. To make sure you get strong erections, you will have to make sure your blood is clean and your veins aren't clogged. This will make it easier for the fuel to reach the engine. After all, good fuel powers better performances. And after testing more than 115 herbs, roots, and leaves, I've mixed 5 extremely powerful ingredients that will cleanse your blood and unclog your penis veins. They will also make sure to keep your pipes clean and pure. I started with Mexican wild yam, also known as the sworn enemy of bad cells. According to studies done by some of the best schools in pharmacy in the US, it is shown to have strong antimicrobial properties. The silver nanoparticles extracted from this will make sure any bacteria entering your blood is exterminated. Next, the small but powerful Pacific kelp jumps into action, adding its strong antioxidant powers to this mix. This one was especially hard to get because in its most potent form, it can only be found in the kelp forest in the South Pacific. It's rich in powerful antioxidants such as carotenoids and flavonoids that have been proven time and again to cleanse the blood. I then used blessed thistle, a very rare and expensive cutting-edge ingredient only used in one of Beijing's top ED clinics. This place is so exclusive that it's been fully booked since 2012, and only VIPs and top porn stars have access to it. The blessed thistle they use is one of the strongest allies you can get when fighting oxidative stress. This little guy will make sure your blood is clean and pure, all ready for the second step, regulating your blood flow for on-demand erections. During this phase, we have to make sure that your rocket has a constant stream of fuel. Otherwise, it will come crashing down when you least expect it. For that, I've used 5 miracle plants that will relax your blood vessels while increasing the blood flow to your penis engine by 75%. The fennel seeds will kickstart this process by dilating your vessels, making room for all the healthy blood to flow into. L-tyrosine and Dong Quai will take on the task of regulating your blood pressure. You see, if your blood pressure is too high, you'll have too hard of an erection and it will interfere with ejaculation and reduce your sexual desire. In fact, a study in the Journal of American Geriatric Society showed that 49% of men with high blood pressure suffered from erectile dysfunction. High blood pressure will keep your arteries from dilating and even causes your penis to lose its ability to relax. And if it's too low, well, you won't even get an erection to begin with. These active substances will make sure your blood pressure is at a constant, healthy 110, allowing you to keep an erection up to at least 50 minutes, or for as long as you need it. Next, I source motherwort extract and oatgrass from the Kazakhstan steppe. Your blood pressure needs to remain constant without highs and lows. In fact, studies have shown that taking motherwort extract for 28 days can regulate blood pressure. Don't worry though, you don't have to wait 28 days because I made sure the dosage is just right. When combined, these 2 herbs will make sure you have a constant blood pressure of less than 120. This will empower you to get powerful erections that last for hours so you can enjoy the next step and last step. Boost your libido for the best sex of your life. Your on-demand erection won't do you no good if you're not in the right mood. So to make sure you're always ready to go, both physically and mentally, I've enriched this extract with fenugreek and saw palmetto. I found out that if I fried the leaves at exactly 248 degrees Fahrenheit and then mashed them into a powder, they keep their maximum effects. So I did that just for this mix. These 2 herbs will regulate your testosterone levels, making sure you're at your manliest, strongest, and no matter the situation. But that's not all. I have also paired Damiana and hops extracts to make the best aphrodisiac you can get your hands on. That's of course if you know how to properly mix them. You see, The best Damiana flowers I could find were all the way in the Mexican rainforest, while the male hops are only cultivated during very early spring. So, if you wanted to get these for yourself, you'd have to wait a lot. You'd then have to make sure you get the right size for your plant and that the hops isn't too dry. But I already did that, so you won't have to. Damiana is an ancient aphrodisiac used by Aztecs and Mayans for its pro-sexual effects. The Mayan leaders were known to take more wives, so you can guess why this plant was so useful to them. The male hops will greatly boost your stamina, enhancing aphrodisiac effects of Damiana. To further improve this mix, I've added a bit of black cohosh as well, a plant proven to increase fertility and sex drive. I believe so much in this mix that I started taking it twice a day. And soon enough, my buddies started wondering about my renewed energy, how I'd seem so happy all the time, how I was more confident than I'd been in years. They asked me what was going on. Had I tried a low T therapy or something, or been working out more? And while it was a little bit embarrassing, I was so proud of my discovery that I figured, what the hell? And I shared my secret. It was funny, but pretty much every single one of them immediately wanted to try out my erection formula for themselves. So I gave them what I had left of my plant mix. I told them how all those miraculous herbs, when mixed together, form the most powerful and healthy ED remedy one could find. How it completely relaxes the blood vessels in your penis to fuel some strong and throbbing erections. I told them when to take this mix for maximum absorption into the body. And I even told them to let me know if they wanted to modify this blend to fit their own needs, so that they wouldn't need to worry about walking around with constant erections. Some of my friends were pretty skeptical at first because it seemed almost too easy. But sure enough, after trying my all-natural erection formula for themselves, every single one of them was either calling me or emailing me to share their shock at how well it had worked. My friend Mike was actually in tears as he told me he'd been suffering from ED for the last 8 years, and that he couldn't take drugs because of a heart condition. He talked about how miserable he'd been, how his relationship with his wife had become a cold and sterile living hell, and how the homemade treatment I'd given him had been a miracle, giving him the best sex of his life within the first couple hours of trying it. Other friends who said they didn't even have issues with getting or maintaining an erection, and that they just tried it out of curiosity, told me they were incredibly glad they had. They said that even though they could already get erections, they had never had anything close to the ones they were having now. So incredibly full. They even said that it increased their stamina and their sex drive dramatically, and that allowed them to last for hours. And as more and more of my friends discreetly shared it with more and more of their friends, and because I was flooded with emails, messages, and calls by men who wanted to thank me because this changed their lives, I realized that despite the fact that it was sort of an uncomfortable thing for me to talk about, I needed to get what I discovered to as many other guys as possible. Which brings us to the reason I made this website and the video you're watching right now. You see, at first I thought about trying to sell this natural home formula I concocted to a pharmaceutical company or a manufacturer of non-prescription male enhancement products. But there was no way drug manufacturers would be open to share what I discovered with the world. After all, they don't want to heal your ED. They want you to keep buying their drugs so that they can keep humiliating you into stuffing their pockets. And because I didn't really know where else to turn or what I could do to get this out there, I decided that my best bet for sharing my life-changing discovery was by putting up this website. Pairing up with a good friend of mine who owns a small homeopathic facility in Arizona, and giving away the natural method I'd used to as many other Americans as possible, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. I called my revolutionary blend Alpha Extra Boost. It's the only all-natural and 100% proven mix for rapidly and efficiently healing your ED while giving you back the power and vitality you thought you'd lost forever. I've sourced the purest, high-quality plant extracts and vitamins and put the exact quantities into an easy-swallow capsule to take twice a day. Every capsule is manufactured in the USA in our FDA approved and GMP certified facility under sterile, strict, and precise standards. Alpha Extra Boost capsules are non-GMO and safe. They do not contain any dangerous stimulants or toxins, and they are not habit forming. Instead, they will give you the gift of raging erections on demand, and most importantly, they will give you back your masculinity and vigor. By now, I imagine you're probably wondering how you can get your hands on this state-of-the-art blend for yourself. To be honest, it's actually still very difficult for the general public to get Alpha Extra Boost. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. While you can try buying each individual ingredient on its own, it's unlikely they will make a fraction of the positive impact that this scientifically proven all-in-one formula will. And once it will be sold out, it will take me 3 to 6 months to produce a new batch, as I'm only willing to accept the best ingredients. Even though I'm almost out of stock, because you've given me your trust and stayed with me all through this presentation, I'll share with you how you can get your hands on a brand new bottle of Alpha Extra Boost in the next minute. But before I do that, let me ask you a question. How much is your masculinity worth to you? No fear, no embarrassment, never disappointing your woman again. Just take a second. Imagine how much that would be worth. $100,000? $10,000? $5,000? Even though a 30-day supply of Alpha Extra Boost is worth no less than $997 considering the research, work, and tests that I've invested in it. And even though my friends suggested $597, seeing how this saved their marriages, that's also around the cost for a month's supply of Viagra, Cialis, or any other ED drug that may help you in the short run, but that will never actually heal your ED. But even though the manufacturers would have asked for $397 just for the high quality of the ingredients, and while many of the 97,500 men who got to experience Alpha Extra Boost said they would gladly pay $297 per bottle, this isn't about money for me. I'll never forget how humiliated I felt when I heard my wife talking about other men. The sadness in her eyes every night I would go to bed without even touching her. The fact that we were heading for an imminent divorce. I'm doing this because I want to help my fellow men. No, my fellow brothers get back their masculinity, self-esteem, and even save their marriages. And because I truly believe no man should feel the way I did, I'm willing to offer Alpha Extra Boost for just $69 per bottle. Actually, let me make the deal even sweeter. You see, no man is safe, and anyone can fall victim to erectile dysfunction. So you'd be right to worry about this even though you've never experienced it before. On top of that, your body needs to be in a continuous state of healing once you start taking Alpha Extra Boost. Missing a single day might compromise months of progress. But the good news is you can put those worries to rest and protect yourself right out of the gate. With a discounted package plan that's only available today, where you can get 6 bottles of Alpha Extra Boost for only $49 per bottle or $1.63 per day. This special discounted package is only being offered to you today through this website as part of my awareness campaign and only while supplies last. Moreover, you also get free shipping today. While 1 bottle will heal your ED, 3 of them will give you the ability to have erections on demand. And 6 bottles of Alpha Extra Boost will give you back your dignity, your masculinity, and will make you feel like the real man you are. And with your renewed vigor, you'll be able to satisfy your partner multiple times a day. 6 bottles will make sure you can get an erection well into old age, and that you will have more than enough stamina for a whole night of wild sex. But again, both the special multi-bottle discount and the free shipping are limited. This means that when I run out of bottles of Alpha Extra Boost again, it'll take me up to 6 months before another batch is available. Just click the 6-bottle package or any package you choose below this video right now to start your order. And if you're still not convinced, imagine having the ability to achieve On demand, powerful erections on demand whenever you want. To never feel anxious or nervous about being intimate with your loved one again. To feel that overwhelming surge of confidence that comes from knowing you are a powerful, strong man. That's what 97,500 other guys just like you have already done. People like Aaron S. of Des Moines, Iowa, who says, "Hey Richard, just writing to thank you for making Alpha Extra Boost available to the public. I know it was probably a bit embarrassing to put your name on this thing, but you seriously deserve a statue for this, man. Since you've been so honest with your struggles, I'll be really honest with mine. Before I found your website, it had been 3 years since my last erection. No joke. I tried ED medications, low T shots, you name it. My doctor said there was some kind of blockage down there, and that the only way to fix it was through an elective surgery, which would cost $20,000, and my insurance wouldn't cover it. I don't have that kind of money, and I thought I was going to be screwed. But that was before I discovered your supplement. Within a short few days, I was getting multiple erections per day. And since then, I've never had a single problem getting it up. My doctor is amazed, but after I shared what you were doing, he said it made a lot of sense. He said that since your method was naturally relaxing those blood vessels, it was allowing the blood to flow in again. Well, anyway, I'm writing to tell anyone out there who's considering your supplement, but who is still hesitant, do it now. Seriously, this is one of the greatest blessings in my life, and I'll be forever thankful." And Alan Lane of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who wrote to say, "Let me start off by saying that I don't even suffer from ED. I'm 60 years old, and I guess I've always been one of the lucky ones who could still stand at full attention when the time was right. So when a friend told me about your remedy, I was mostly just trying it out for curiosity's sake, but wow, am I glad I did. It's one thing to have a normal erection, and quite another to experience an erection like the one Alpha Extra Boost will get you. I mean, it was like I had a pulsing power source down there. I don't want to gross you out, but it was just fuller, firmer, and longer lasting than anything I'd ever experienced. I also found that my sex drive increased dramatically as a result of this, and my girlfriend has been going nuts, constantly begging me for more. You're the man, Richard, thanks." And these men took no risks because they were covered by my full 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Here's how it works. Just choose your preferred package. Then click the Buy Now button that's below this video. You get your bottles of Alpha Extra Boost and start your test drive today. You'll then have 2 full months to evaluate the powerful and efficient erection generating supplement I've created. Just take 2 pills a day, whenever you feel like it, and I guarantee that you will be blown away by how immediate and full the erections you get are, and how you're able to achieve them on demand at the slightest touch. And if you're not happy with your small investment for any reason whatsoever, all you have to do is send an email to the address I'll give you inside the guide, and I will immediately refund your entire purchase. So, in other words, I'm going to take on all of the risk here, which means you have nothing to lose. Alpha Extra Boost will change your life forever. It will heal the intimacy issues you may be struggling with. It will give you a surge of confidence like you wouldn't believe. It will make you feel like a full and complete man again. But if you're ready to get started, you really do need to act quickly, because some big pharma representatives already got their eyes on me. They even threaten to sue me, and when this happens, I'll have to take the whole thing down. Which means if you come back to this website in a week or 2 from now and you find that this presentation has been taken down, I'm sorry to say there simply won't be anything I can do for you. But why would you even wait or put this investment off anyway? You have absolutely no risk at all. Your results are guaranteed. You can heal your ED in just a short couple of weeks. Ultimately, the choice is yours. But this presentation will be over 15 seconds from now, so you need to decide quickly. You can just leave this page and go on with your day. That's fine. But if you suffer from ED, what's going to change in your life? Are you going to keep spending thousands of dollars per year on drugs and medications that have hundreds of hidden but deadly side effects? Or try low-T injections that don't work for ED and that costs more than $2,000 for a session? Or will you simply keep struggling, keep feeling frustrated, and keep seeing your love life suffer? Sorry, I'm not trying to be harsh here, but that's just the reality of all those decisions, which makes them not even real options at all. Try Alpha Extra Boost right now, completely risk-free. Within 48 hours, you will be getting the fullest, strongest erections of your life, whenever you want, and without any drugs, weird Eastern herbs, or sketchy low-T treatments. The choice is yours, but you already know what you need to do. So just choose your package and click that Buy Now button below this presentation now. Test it for yourself, and I'll see you on the other side. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Sincerely, Richard Johnson. Still here? That's no problem, I totally get it. A lot of people have questions after watching this presentation, especially because they find it so shocking that they can treat their ED without expensive surgeries or drugs whatsoever. To help clear up anything for you, what I'll do right now is go ahead and answer a few of the most common questions I get asked about Alpha Extra Boost. Number one, how exactly does this supplement work again? Well, like I mentioned, the whole key to getting and sustaining an erection is that blood vessels in your penis are relaxed. When this happens, blood flows in, fills up your chambers, and you get hard. When you have ED, however, those vessels aren't relaxing like they're supposed to. And as a result, the blood can't get through. And you either have weak, less firm erections or can't get fully erect at all. The herbs in Alpha Extra Boost will naturally relax the vessels inside your member and allow the blood to flow in. Once that happens, your ED is gone, and you can get erections whenever you want, almost as if you were a teen again. Number two, how long does it normally take to get results? Generally, you'll notice your first powerful erection within a couple hours after taking this supplement. After that, you'll find you're able to get hard on demand and that those erections will last as long as you want them to. Number three, one more time, what are the terms of that guarantee you mentioned? Simple. Get Alpha Extra Boost today by choosing your preferred package and clicking the Buy Now button you see below this screen. You'll immediately get your bottles shipped to your doorstep. Don't worry, this will be discreet as possible. Then, you have a full 60 days to try out the supplement with absolutely zero risk. If for any reason it doesn't work, like I said it will, or you simply change your mind for no good reason at all, you only need to send me an email and I'll refund your entire investment, so you have nothing to lose here. Number four, okay, I'm in. How do I get started? Easy. Just choose your preferred package and click the Buy Now button that's below this video screen. You will be taken to a high security checkout page that you'll have to complete. Then you will have everything shipped right to your door. Number five, anything else I should know? One last thing I like to point out to people who are considering trying Alpha Extra Boost is how discreet it is. Think about it. Instead of having to stand in line at the pharmacy counter to pick up your ED medications, or to have your wife know you're on those pills and judge you, you simply choose your preferred package, click that Buy Now button, and you'll have your bottles of Alpha Extra Boost arrive at your doorstep. No embarrassment, no hassle, no wasted time. Click the button below now and get access to Alpha Extra Boost. I can't wait to hear your success story.